It's KGB. Live show. We gon' set it right. Live show. We only tell the truth. Live show. We gon' set it right. Live show. The true straight way.
Straight from the scripture.
Straight way.
To you straight, no chaser.
The true straight way.
Straight from the scripture.
Straight way.
To you straight, no chaser.
The true straight way.
All right. Welcome to the KGB live show with your host, Brother Kabir Gbaja-Biamila.
All right.
Are you centered there?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
All right,
Can
let's do a
anybody hear
quick
me?
sound check, everyone. How are we coming in tonight? Welcome to the show. Another show. Hallelujah. Episode number 48.
48. We're about to get to 50. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 3. How do I sound out there?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hey, can you guys hear Brother Jordan?
How's Brother Jordan coming in?
You guys put a J8 if you can hear Jordan well. A J8. Oh, 20. Oh, yeah, put 23 if you can hear Jordan. Jordan, talk.
Shalom. Can you hear me?
Come on, man. That's not too much. Yeah, that's not his point. Yeah. He's trying not to hurt this. Exactly. Yeah, can you hear me now?
He works for Sprint now. He did the next thing. Now he made a commercial like that for Sprint.
Oh, I know that, yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
Okay. Can you guys hear? Okay. Yep.
Sorry, that was the music I accidentally blasted. Excuse me.
LeBron. Somebody said, weren't they said?
LeBron. Oh, I guess 23. Yeah, his number is 23 too.
Yeah.
So when we get a brother LeBron in here, we'll say 24. But anyway, Saints, welcome to the KGB Live Show. Brother Kabir is going to step away real quick. We'll be right back. But anyway, not too many announcements here. We're going to get started here pretty soon. You guys see the title of the show, How to Be a Real Man. So we're going to get into it today. You know, I think in this generation, the way that our generation, at least when I say our generation, my generation, the quote-unquote millennials, we've suffered from a lack of proper, I guess you could say, role models, and people to look up to as men. And Brother Kabir is going to come from his perspective, what he's experienced, and I already know that we're all going to get edified. So, Brother Kabir, Gbaja-Biamila, I should say your whole name. Kabir.
Can you say it?
Oluwariju. I say too fast.
Oluwariju. Oluwariju.
Oluwariju.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it says Jew.
Yeah. Yehuda.
Anyway, but Brother Kabir, how you doing, man? I know it's been a crazy,
guys,
crazy couple weeks. But
guys,
how you doing right now at this moment?
I'm at peace. I'm at peace right now. Guys, this has been crazy. Why has it been so crazy? Oh,
Just a lot of new,
a lot of new
additions.
saints. Yep. A lot of new
We
saints
just had
here.
a visitor here,
Yep.
Brother Jesus was
Mhm.
here visiting for the Shabbat.
We have Brother Jesus. Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was a nice surprise. Brother Jesus has been in the ministry for quite some time. I think he said since 2012.
Yeah,
2012. So he's been around for a while. So it was nice seeing his face and getting to know our brother more, getting to know us, and we've been having. I think also because just fellowship kind of opened back up because of the whole COVID stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like all at once, right?
You know what's something I liken running a community like a gardener or a husband. Like I was just thinking to myself, you know, you got the old plants that you know that has been there for a while, so you kind of know, you know, they're gonna do their thing. Then you get the new ones that come in, and you're grafting back in. You know, some it's coming is a little bit damaged. You're trying to see if you can preserve it, and you know just all the different. Somebody got to need a lot more water. Another one, I mean, you're just running around just trying to make sure that everybody is growing the way they should be growing. You know, and what I love about just straightway, I'm really thankful for Pastor Dow and his leadership. If we talk about being a real man, Pastor Dow is the epitome of a man that we see today. You know, he's a man's man. I've never had. This is the most manliest pastor I've ever had before, and it's easy to follow his lead. And not only that, not only what he says, but what he does. He actually do the word. He actually lives this thing out. I'm usually amazed on how he does what he does, how he's able to work, how he's able to preach, how he's able to. I mean, I think
that's the biggest difference too. Is like in Christianity, we great speakers, right?
Yeah,
just
great
top
but you
college, Stanford type of speakers.
Yeah,
but you never saw the results. You never saw the footwork.
Yeah,
and what Pastor does really well is actually getting out there and showing you what he's doing.
I remember thinking of people like Vodi Bakum. If you guys, whoever's new to this stuff, but Vodi Bakum or some of these people that you thought like, man, these are men, like that was the first time for me. I thought like, man, Vodi Bakum, man, this is a man's man, right? But I never saw his footwork. He talks very well. I mean, the only way you can judge this man is based on how well he spoke the English. I mean, he's just good. I mean, he will blow. I mean, he's just a black. I mean, he's just very articulated. I mean, just blew you away with his words. But you never saw his footwork. Said a lot of things that sound biblical, and sounded good, but never seen how he, how he really lives that out. Pastor Dow, I mean, he's maybe rough in comparison to, Vodi Bakum, who's educated, But Pastor Dow, the power in what Pastor Dow is doing is his living, his doing of the word.
Let me ask you a quick question right here. So, before we get into the topic and all that, we're just kind of laying the
foundation.
Right? But now some might say though, right, that you want to see my footwork? We're given to the homeless. We're given to widows. We're given to. So there's my fruit. So what's the difference between that and what you've experienced here at Straight?
Well, I can tell you, I was one of the big givers, So I used to give money, Now, that's easy to write a check and great. But to actually do community, to live community, that's really doing the work. I mean, I would liken to even like this. It's amazing that I've been in this ministry for 3 years now, and one of the biggest thing about Straightway Truth Ministry that Pastor Dow continues to harp on and to encourage us to do is getting deliverance. Getting deliverance. I mean, this is even when I came, I'm like, man, I need some, I don't know. I'm just trying to, what's this deliverance thing? I just, I'm seeing things going on. I'm like, okay. But what I see is that, yes, deliverance is what is needed. But I noticed that more people enjoy sitting in that seat and getting their deliverance and going crazy and just letting it loose. I mean, and then they feel good. But how many of these people are really doing the work? Really putting in the work? I heard Elder Rufus say it. He said 99% of the work is done. He said 95% of the work is actually getting to the pain, getting to the root of it, and the few small percent is sitting in that seat.
Exactly, sitting in the seat should be the easiest part.
That's the easiest part right there.
Coming out, boom.
But people don't want to do the work. I've talked to different people that's been in this ministry and different things, and they prefer just to do this. I say, well, and I always say, well, okay, have you done the work? Have you written that letter? Have you really identified the pain? Have you really got? And that's the part. Like, do I? He said, man,
because from my experience, every time I sought deliverance, people who have worked with me in deliverances, like Brother Scott, Deacon Bell, Brother JC, and every time I go to these brothers, says, have you been fighting against it? Have you been digging in? Have you been looking for the root and stuff like that? So what you're saying is on point. I mean, that's exactly that's 99% of the work, like you said.
And so I liken that to giving. Anybody can give, but to actually roll up your sleeve, labor with your brothers, right? To really labor with them, to really, I guess you call it when we confessing our faults to one another. Some people call it counseling. Some people call it, but it's just really being able to confess our faults to one another, the things that we're struggling with, to understand there's nothing new under the sun. We have all had to deal with this stuff. We've all, this walk is all about overcoming, truly just being an overcomer.
Right.
And so,
now what you,
I was
going to say just real quick. So what is the difference though? What is the difference between someone doing feeding the hungry, the widows, and then how does that translate, or what's the difference between that and how we do it here in Israel? You know what I mean? Like, what's more biblical? I guess, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a guy that told me, he says, man, I feel so many widows, man. They coming through the door. I'm feeding all widows. I said, but did you see if they're truly widows indeed? Because you can actually be enabling some people and causing them not to repent and be able to do right. Tell them to go back home. Tell them to go serve the saints. Have these people served the saints? I said, straightway, they take care of the saints. Who are the saints? Yeah, who are the saints? Yeah, but at straightway, they make sure that they're widows indeed. I mean, matter of fact, I see Elder Rufus is on here, but I just saw a video I posted on my Facebook. Check it out. I mean, you can check it on Elder Rufus' YouTube channel. Straightway Georgia. But Elder Rufus was talking about his one of his son, and it's not his natural son, but he is literally showing what it means to be a father to the fatherless. He literally is, and I don't know about the woman's situation, but he's literally, he's doing what the word says to do. He's literally showing that he has the spirit of Yah in him, for him to want to be able to take this to this boy and two of them, and to be able to treat them like he would his own son. He even talked about loving them more than his own son. Not that, but I mean, I was just like, this is what this ministry is about. Right. I mean, I'm just like, look at these. I mean, these are our leaders.
Just like Yah, right? Well, he's taking the stranger, bringing them into the fold, and treating them as if they were born in the land.
Yeah. I mean, and Pastor Dow's done that. I mean, he's a father to them. I mean, it's just off the chain. So all I can say is that in Christianity, you just never seen it on this level. And so,
to say the least, you've seen the difference between people who claim to be a man or
yes.
a male, and then also experiencing what it means to be a real man, or seeing men who are considered real men. Like Pastor always says, right? Men don't follow titles.
They follow strength. Yes.
That leads us into the show, Brother Kabir.
So I mean, guys, I mean, as I been the head of this community, I don't know how long now. It's not long, but it has to be less than a year, 2. I mean, almost going on 2.
Going on 2 years.
Going on 2 years. So going on 2 years, and as a community head, you have people that you rule over, and that you're responsible. Pastor Dodd was talking about being responsible for their souls, and that is a true. I mean, and it's a heavy responsibility. It's not. I remember the first time when I took on the responsibility just for the 3 or the few people that I had. I just had Brother David and his family, Brother Jordan, Brother Ryan. And I mean, I remember going into my bedroom, getting on my knees and saying, Yah, please give me the wisdom to lead these people in your everlasting ways, Father. Just like you did for Solomon. I need your wisdom to be able to rule righteously. And I felt that this was much of a bigger a bigger responsibility than it was even for my natural family.
Higher calling.
Yeah, there was a higher calling. And I felt that weight. And I just started walking in that. And Pastor Dow has been such a great mentor, and just really giving me the confidence that, man, son, you can do this. And he's been very supportive, and he's really been a huge part. I remember being a pastor in Christianity or whatever, but they were just using me. I had no responsibility. It was just like, hey, we're just gonna put you on hold, and then when we need to put you out there to bait people in, that's what we do. So I remember the pastor saying the same thing. He says, man, I'm gonna train you, I'm gonna disciple you, and I was literally looking, and then I found it was just a show. I mean, it's nothing like this stuff. I can call Pastor and I say, Pastor, how do I handle this situation or whatever? I mean, and not only that, these people didn't even give me any responsibility. Pastor Dow literally says, okay, you're responsible for these people. Mm-hmm. And he comes and check to see how I'm doing, to see how the saints are doing, and he adds more. And then y'all just keep adding more through, obviously through Pastor Dow and everything. So I really am learning a lot, even in this role. I've learned a lot. But as I am in this role and helping men and helping to develop boys into men, and that's what I'm doing. You got to have a vision. I think about so many men that's in this ministry, and just when from the word I come in, but you come into this. And you get excited about the fellowship. You get excited about, man, I can have me an obedient woman. I can have maybe more than one. I can have 2, 3. But no one really deals with their house first. deal with their own self first. I think about this thing about being a bishop. The Bible says, and if you can, and I'm going to have you read. And well, before we go there, let me before. Huh?
No,
Okay, yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, before we go there, but so many of us are still boys. We're still boys. We may be 30, 40, 20, whatever our age is, but we're really just that little boy that's still arrested in development. And a lot of the things that cause us to be arrested in development is our childhood wounds. And these are the things that's holding us back to be all that Yah calls us to be. This is what's keeping us from being the man that we are supposed to be. This is what's keeping us to be the husbands, the fathers, the brothers. I mean, so many people are still on milk because they have not dealt with their childhood wounds. Pastor Dow this past Shabbat was talking about spirits. And he was talking about, he just went through a plethora of examples of spirits. But he summed it up in a few examples that spirits are like emotions, and they're emotions. He talked about anger, talked about bitterness, talked about heaviness, fear. These are emotions. Right. He talked about that spirit is a personality. Right, you got all of these stuff. So when your face is downcast, he said some people's faces are so downcast, it's become a fixture that you don't even know. This is how they look. They always look downcast. You can't even tell anymore because they've been in it for so long and they have not been able to truly grow. And so one of the things that we've been doing here at Straightway Praiseland is we have been following the lead of Pastor Dow. We have been doing deliverance. But it's not like, maybe you can probably testify to this stuff, but it may not be exactly as you guys may have experienced when you first came to Straightway, where the laying their hands, holding people down. But we say, we're going to do the hard work. We're not going to, before we get in that seat, we're going to really get to the heart of the matter. Let's dig in. Let's get to these roots that's causing us, that's affecting our behavior, that's affecting our consciousness, that's affecting our spirit. We're going to get to the root of this stuff. And a lot of the stuff that we are dealing with as men is rooted before the age of 9, maybe 9 to 11. There's things that's happened to us, things that we saw, things that our parents may have done to us because of what was done to them by their parents and their parents before them, and they're from generations. And it continues going from and then the crazy part is the very thing that was done to us, we end up putting it on the next generation unknowingly. And this is how Satan is just having a field day with us. And now we can't even focus on the things that Yah had for us and what he wants us to do because we're distracted by these wounds, by these things that, and so many people have a spirit of denial. They completely deny. Literally, you can have this big beam in your eyes, and you can't even see it. Matter of fact, even when you turn your head, people have to duck so they don't get hit by it. They say, "What is this? Not a big deal. It's just a little speck." And people are not, and this is what Pastor Keith said, we need deliverance. We got to do the work. We really got to dig deep. What are those things that are holding us back? Why do we do the things that we do? See, we can deal with the things that we understand. We can just deal, but the things we don't, that we can't deal with is the things you don't understand. And so, let me show you what happens when you're wounded as a child. You become double-minded.
Is there a name for that stage between
puberty, before the age of puberty?
I think you mentioned a little bit about
okay,
even in the womb.
Yeah.
Right?
So even in the womb. So before that age, you're at the age of really 13. You're really at the age of directive. And during that time, when you are literally growing in your father's house, and it should be that way, but in your father's house. And as you're growing, you're at the age of directive where things can literally be put in you. This is like it's like getting a computer program.
It starts 3 months in the womb?
3 months in the third trimester is in the mother's womb. That's when your conscious tape is going on. And so you have something called the subconscious. And then you have your conscious. Like right now, I'm conscious that David's in the room. I'm conscious that Jordan's in the room. I'm conscious that all of this is going on. I got a camera here. I'm very conscious. But you got something in the subconscious. And that has been running since I was the 3rd trimester in my mother's womb to this day, and it will keep running all the way to the day you die. And obviously, I know for sure we're gonna die. And no matter what's on that, and here's the crazy part: we don't know what's in that subconscious. You could have been molested in the crib. You could have been rejected somehow. Maybe like in my situation, I was a little boy. My mom got into a fight with my dad and threw me in the street. Now, I didn't know that at the time. I wasn't conscious of it, but it happened to me, and it's in my subconscious. It's in that tape. And so then when you get older, all of a sudden you start experiencing stuff like no one loves me. Or you start experiencing all these different spirits.
When does that stage begin? The conscious state.
The conscious is going on when you become of like maybe 10, like
After 9.
Okay. But you're becoming conscious of things of yourself. You're just growing in there, like Amariah. I mean, she's conscious, like I hurt and but they forget things easily, because But whatever is happening to you during all those times, even in the mother's womb, if the mother was beating her belly and you 3rd trimester, it would affect you. If it was a specific, I'll tell you the story. There was a story of a girl, a woman. I think she was 30 years old, and this is a story I heard, so I'm just telling you how I heard it, but I thought it was powerful. And she was 30 years old, and her whole life she was just always depressed. This is a spirit, right? The spirit of depression, right? Yeah. She was depressed. She was always, she felt like she had a loss, and she felt like all her fault. See, when you're little, that's why you can discipline a young lad. You can discipline them. And what do? You think like, I got to spank you because Dad? No, I got to spank because I did something wrong. But you can also turn around and do something evil and do something bad to them. Like molest or do these evil things, and they think it's their fault. So that's why they don't tell. But this woman who lived her whole life is thinking that something is wrong with me. I'm damaged. There's something wrong with me. I don't know what it is. No one has explained this to me. And she's living her whole life like this. And finally, she sat down with a counselor. And she sat down with a counselor and was explaining how she felt. And the counselor said, "How far back do you think you felt like this?" I said, "I feel this all that I can ever remember. I felt like this as a little girl. It goes way back. I felt like I feel like I experienced a loss, a heaviness. It's just normal. And I hear other people's story. I see excited. And I just don't feel that. I don't know why. I feel like this can go way back in my mother's womb." And then that counselor went and talked to the parents and said, "Hey, your daughter has experienced this heaviness, this depression, and she said that she felt like this her whole. Has anything major happened to her? Did she experience any type of loss that you may be able to fill in that blank?" And she found out. She said she feels like she can even not remember, but she just I feel like I'm in a close quarter, and I feel like I lost something. And the counselor is telling the parents this stuff, and the parents are looking at each other. How did she know? She was a twin. And the baby that was with her sibling died. But they never told her she was a twin. But she experienced that loss, but no one ever filled in that blank in the conscience. So all she has to do is blame herself. Can you imagine how Satan will have a field day? It's you. You're the bad one. You're this, you're that, you're that. And there's no one that can explain this craziness she's going through. As soon as she found out that she was a twin, as soon as she found out that it wasn't her fault, that it was just a miscarriage, had nothing to do with it, she was delivered.
Yeah, the truth will set
she was free. Delivered. The truth will set you free. Come on, bro. Some of you guys are dealing with stuff that's deep, and you keep it inside because you're thinking that if I tell anybody, they're going to look at me funny. They're going to look at me weird. They're not going to talk to me. And that's what Satan convinced you. He tells you that lie so that you don't get your healing. And you don't even realize that if you speak and you finally say, how many people like Jeffrey Dahmer struggled with the stuff that he had? Did you know that when he got caught, he was actually happy because now he didn't have to hide anymore. Wow. He didn't have to go around killing these women and eating them. And he was wounded. And these are some extreme versions that I'm telling you guys. But what I'm trying to explain to you guys is that even on a smaller, I've never experienced some of these great things, but I experienced it. I experienced some of these things. My biggest one was rejection. Rejection, because sometimes, hey, love my mom, but because of what happened to her and the rejection she experienced, she passed that on to me. The same technique.
The rejection that she had, that little story with her mother, that was deep. I don't know if you're willing to share.
Yeah. So
that's some heavy stuff.
Yeah. So my mom, her mom pretended to be dead, and she's all, and they all think she's dead, and she's crying like, mom, and the others will say, oh, let's just bury her. This is, she's Nigerian and everything like that. And then finally, the mother woke up and says, I now know who loves me. I mean, it's like,
she was faking it.
Yeah, she was faking it just to see like this. So in her mind, can you imagine what this did? So it's just off the chain, and just there's a lot of other stuff. But you can see it gets passed on from generation to generation. There's just things that we don't even know. Mm-hmm. Like my dad would say, and my dad, I would say he's a great dad. But because I just know the story because we told him to help me with my own healing. Like if I did something bad, my dad would call me a bad boy. Oh, you want to be a bad boy, and he would beat me. So if I did anything I did, I just assume I'm a bad boy. You see the difference? And let me show you there's a difference. There's a difference between guilt and shame. Yeah. See, shame says I am bad. Guilt says I did something wrong. I did something bad. You see, there's hope in guilt because I can repent. I can change my ways. But when you put it on the person, it makes you hopeless. It's like saying, man, all dark-skinned people are going to hell. Is there any hope for me? There's no hope for me. I'm done. And so when my dad would say, and just discipline, he says, you a bad boy. So guess what? You think it stopped there. People say, Maverick, there's a tape of me. My brother used to have, do you remember those old, you guys are all young, but they used to have these tape recorders, these cassettes, right? Oh, yeah. And I lost my underwear. And I remember my sister, it was me and my twin sister. And I lost my underwear. And I could not find my underwear. And on the tape, you hear me crying. I'm just crying, right? I'm crying. I said, I'm a bad King Day. I'm a bad, that's my other day. But I'm a bad Kabir. And my sister said, you're not a bad Kabir. You're a good Kabir. And I'm crying because I lost my underwear. But look what I was saying to myself. So in the beginning, when you're young, it's being put on you. And then when something bad happens.
How old are you when you that happened?
I had to be like maybe 7, 8, 9.
Oh,
Yeah. But I'm just saying, but look how I react. So you hear it so much because I did a lot of bad things. So how many times do you think I was told I was a bad boy, right? And then all of a sudden, right? So all of a sudden, you don't need your parents. It's automatic. You a bad boy because you can't find your underwear. Do you guys hear what I'm saying here?
That's deep, man.
And so so now you guys say, well, man, how come your dad did something like that? But guess what? I did the same thing to my sons. So then when my oldest son, when he get interested, you want to be a bad boy? Well, I'm just literally just mimicking what my dad. That's all I know. You want to be, you want to be a bad boy? So I'll call him a bad boy. And so now I'm shaming the next generation. But guess what? I found out that my dad was called a bad boy. Because my dad used to love to swim in the lagoons or in Nigeria, and he was called a bad. Matter of fact, he was 9 years old if I'm not mistaken, and he was sent to boarding school. Wow! So that's like going off to college at 9. Be gone because he's a bad boy because he couldn't do that's right. So you see, so his dad told him that, my dad told me that, and they even went all the way to the next generation. But then I got delivered and start realizing, okay, so I can discipline my son because we know discipline is good. That's deliverance. Right. I say, hey, you did something wrong here. You're better than I know you can do better. And this is why I'm disciplining you because you can do better. I expect you to be perfect, right? Because he's perfect. Doesn't he cause the bad? And so I discipline them. But now I don't have to shame them. I don't have to wound them. So that now their trajectory can be totally different than what was for me.
That's good.
So all these boys out here who have been wounded by whatever has happened. It could be incest. It could be molestation. It could be physical abuse. It could be emotional abuse. And the biggest one is rejection. Rejection. And so now you got men, boys, who are in these men body, they want to have a woman. They think like, oh man, I know something. If I had me a woman, man, I would be happy. Then she will be able to cover all my needs. Yeah, she could be like a mother. And so they end up, instead of marrying a woman that they're supposed to rule over, they're trying to marry their mother. And then they expect this woman to all of a sudden have all the answers because they got all these things that's been unresolved. Their whole life has been unresolved. And now they're looking for this woman to complete him, and to resolve all his issues and all his problems and all that. And now you got her. She got her issues. You got two worlds coming together now. Boom, 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 boom. And so that's one of the reasons that one of the things we've been doing big here is try to make this a patriarch community. And not that none of the other ones, but really like the way I try to deal with the guys, I do stuff with the guys and then expect these guys to go to their Ishaya and to help them. But first, I always tell them, you got to focus on you. If the head is not right, the body is bad. So let me show you what happens when you're wounded. When you're wounded, this is how Satan's biggest game is to create doubt. He creates doubt. And when he creates that doubt, he makes you double-minded. So you got what Yah is saying, but then he adds another option here. And instead of you picking, you're now torn between the two options. You become double-minded. You become unstable. And a lot of men, a lot of grown men who are boys live their whole life unstable. That's what we're seeing in the world today. So let's go to James. Go to James chapter 4, verse 8. I want to read. Actually, you start at verse 7. I know we didn't have this in here, but start at verse 7. But he's going to put 8 on here.
All right. Submit yourselves, therefore, to Yah. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you.
See, look, he said, what he says, just read that first part again.
Submit yourselves.
Submit yourself. This was going to deliver us. Submit yourself to who?
Therefore, to Yah.
To Yah, okay.
Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw nigh to Yah, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded.
So I think Elder Rufus even just brought this way early in the chat. I saw him. He says, resist the devil, and he will flee. I mean, guys, this is what we got. It always comes down to submitting to Yah. And when you submit to Yah, you would literally be resist. This is the key. If you want to resist the devil, submit to Yah. This is how. So when the Bible's literally giving us instructions on what to do, it's literally a lamp unto our feet, a lamp unto our path. So you got so many men who are double-minded. They can't even do what they're called to do because of their woundedness, because of the spirits that's in them that they haven't dealt with, unresolved issues. This is how you're going to become a real man. You got to deal with you. You got to get the head right. You got to get to the depth, to the root of why you do the things that you can't control. You can deal with the things you understand, but the things you don't understand, that's what drives you crazy. And that's what drives everybody around you crazy. Keep reading. Go to 1 Kings. Let me show you this one. 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 21. Read.
And Elijah came unto all the people and said, How long halt thee between two opinions? If Yahweh be Elohim, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word.
See, guys, it's the same thing what Yeshua says. He says, I'd rather you're hot or cold, but you're neither. You're lukewarm. So many people, especially Christianity, they're so lukewarm. You can't even, there's nothing concrete about Christianity. They literally teach you how to be double-minded. They literally teach you how to be lukewarm. Mm-hmm. And you got that's why these women are divorcing these men. These men, instead of them being a man, they have the spirit of Ahab on them. Because they have nothing stable, nothing to hold on to. They're literally building their life, their family on sandy ground. Sandy ground. Keep reading. Read 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4.
Having eyes full of adultery, and that cannot cease from sin, beguiling unstable souls.
Unstable souls. Still dealing with sin. Still dealing with all this stuff that's tormenting you, oppressing you. Why? Because you got an unstable soul. Keep reading.
A heart they have exercised with covetous practices. Cursed children.
See, these children are cursed. And that's why, but we have hope in Yeshua HaMashiach. We have hope in Jesus the Christ. Read James chapter 5. I'm just showing you all these precepts, guys, right here. I literally just coming off of what Pastor Dow was talking about, all these spirits. And we at Straightway Praise Man are attacking it. We're getting to the root. And trust me, it will be easy. I mean, right, Jordan, isn't it easy to sit in that seat? I mean, we've had counseling sessions, right? Yeah. It's not even like sit in my office. It could just be in the kitchen. It could be whatever. We just having conversation. And when we get to the heart of the matter, does that not it's pain. Yeah. You got to be willing to enter your pain. And that's what keeps us from really getting to the root, because we don't want to experience the pain of going back and seeing how we're rejected, seeing my parents fight when they were fighting each other, thinking it was my fault, or doing this or doing that, all that stuff. You don't want to go back. And so you think that, okay, I'm just going to put it away, put it in a drawer, hide it, act like it's not there. But guess what? It's just like a computer. If you literally just say, oh, you see these syntax errors or whatever, these old computers they used to have, and you just keep ignoring it. Let's say you just keep ignoring all the warnings. Is that computer going any faster? It's going to go slow until you go in there and you do have to do a hard reboot. You got to go in there, clean it out. You may have to take the whole thing out and put it back piece by piece and find out where the stuff is to get that virus out. Wow. But Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He comes in there and puts a virus in us by wounding us. Do those 5 things that I just told you. Right. Rejection, incest, emotional abuse, physical abuse, molestation. These are the ways that he tries to put that virus in there, because that will affect you for a lifetime. People can quit drugs. People can quit alcoholism. But the things that was hardwired in them is hard. It only takes deliverance to get those things out. But you got to do the work. You got to enter your pain. Keep reading. What is it? James 5:6. Read. Oh, this is right here.
Confess your faults one to another and pray for one another.
See, guys, look, this is what we do. We confess our faults to one another. Now, this is not a place where we go and just put all our business all over the place, but this is a place where it's safe. We try to create a safe environment where we as men can really talk about the things that we're struggling with. We may watch a video or something to just kind of, get us into like, wow, touch something, say, hey, what did you glean from that? How did that affect you? And you can even see, too, as the guys explain, sometimes if guys are legit, and, hey, man, this is what's going on, boom, 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 boom. Then some guys say, oh, yeah, man, that was a good thing. I saw this. Okay, but let's focus on you. Stop telling us what I know. We all, don't retell what we just saw. How does that impact you? You can see. Denial. You can see it. When you have eyes to discern, you can see when people are in denial. They're blind. They're hurting. Their face, they just start you start seeing the manifestation. They can't even help it, even though they know what we're trying to do. So it says, confess your faults to one another. And that means plus, and pray one for another. Keep reading.
That you may be healed.
That you may be healed. And the very thing that Satan doesn't want us to do, he doesn't want us to get our healing. So he keeps us from confessing our faults to one another. We try to act like we got it all together. Man, I'm the man, Some people told me, KGB, Kabir, hey, man, why'd you put your story out there? Did you know when I was on YouTube in the beginning, when I was going through that in real time? Yeah, that's probably embarrassing. I'm this established man, Packer Hall of Famer, played football, millionaire, whatever you want to call it. Everybody was telling me, don't put your business out there. It's going to hurt you. They were literally telling me to say, come here, do everything in your power to save. In so many directions, people were telling me to save my life. This will all pass, man. Just keep it. You know what they wanted? They wanted me to keep it inside. Because everybody in this community in Green Bay, Wisconsin, all my so-called friends, no one wanted to help me. No one wanted to talk about it. They sit there, just kept on gaslighting me, wanted me to stuff it within myself. It was Pastor Dow that told me, first of all, before that, Pastor Dow was the one that I was confessing everything to and working things out. And when I got my strength, Then Pastor Dow says, hey, I remember I just walking with Pastor Dow on the land, and I said, Pastor, man, this story is just off the chain, man. I mean, people got to hear about this stuff. And he's the one that suggested, you should put this on. You should go tell people this too. I think it'll be good. So this is why we have a KGB live show. I would have never thought. I didn't even know how to work all this stuff. And y'all brought me all the people to help me. And then as I was telling my story, as I was telling my testimony, I was literally being healed. You guys literally saw me getting healed. And then I had people like at Straightway praying for me. That was my biggest test to date. What did I tell you? My greatest fear was being rejected. See, I've been rejected all my life. I felt rejected. But I told you, if you feel rejected, it means you're his. That's the hallmark of being a child of Yah, a son of Yah. But and so the greatest thing I feared was losing my wife and losing my family. I say, as long as I have them and have Jesus, I'm good. But I didn't know that I made an idol of my wife. I didn't know I made an idol of my children. I didn't know. But that was my identity, being a family man, having my sons and daughter well behaved. I mean, if you saw them, they were well behaved. I ran a tight ship and had this illusion that I was the head of my home when really I wasn't. It was the woman, and she had the ability to to turn the neck, because she wasn't. And now, I was listening to a sermon, this past sermon, Pastor Dow said, isn't it interesting that Job says the greatest thing that he feared was losing this and losing that? He said, how come he didn't change and say, I feared losing my wife? I said, well, I did. So I did better than Job. So I'm glad I lost her, because she was so oppressive. She oppressed me. People didn't even know it. People don't even care. To this day, no one in my past life cares and give a damn that I was oppressed, that I was being abused emotionally. She even knew some of my weakness and used it to manipulate me. And no one cares. Not a Christian pastor, not a Christian brother, a sister. No one gives a damn. We just saw somebody from the Green Bay Packers, a guy that I used to talk to all the time at the store. Tell them what you experienced. What you don't even know. You're just going off of the discernment. Tell them what you saw, David. You tell them.
Well, we were walking in a store.
First of all, can you guys hear David? Please, I want you to hear this testimony.
So we were walking into a store. We were picking up a few items, and Brother Kabir runs into some old friends, old acquaintances that he, I guess you said they work for the Packer organization, so I think you actually made the initial
say, hey!
reaction. Hey, how's it going, right? And he did the courteous, smiled, and his wife was there. I don't know if it was his wife.
Yeah.
Another woman was there. But it was very short-lived on their part. It was very business. It was hey, we gotta go, kind of a thing. And just through their body language.
And I haven't seen this man for maybe over 10 years, maybe 7 years. Because I saw him at the Packer Hall of Fame in 2013. Right. And this is a guy that's in maintenance. When I was playing for the Green Bay Packers, I used to hang out with people in the maintenance, the mail room. I used to, what people will call the little people. I literally was a big-time football player for the Green Bay Packers. And I took time to spend time with these people, hang out with them, joke with them. Knew them by name, even had their number. And they even told me not too many players, they always just walk by us as if we're nothing here. Even at my Hall of Fame speech, I mentioned that man by name. I mentioned more of the support staff than I did my own teammates. And you don't think they know the stories that are going on. You don't think he said, man, Kabir, man, I heard of everything he had. He didn't even care to know. It's hi. In Wisconsin, these people in Wisconsin are racist. Straight up. They kill you with a smile. They pat you on the back. And when the moment comes, they're ready to stab your back, gossip behind your back. That's what they do. That's the culture up here. There's a guy that, man, I would go visit them and he's in maintenance. I would actually go to their own, their maintenance room or the thing, and go and hang out with them. Major player. So guys, but why did I even bring that up? I digress. But rejection. So anyway, As I go through this, so where's my reader? He's gone. Oh my goodness. Okay, I lost my reader here.
He's come back.
Okay, we got a backup reader. So guys, I tell you this stuff is because this is the. I mean, I'm talking about these people did not care that I was being oppressed, rejected, or anything. But as I was telling my story on YouTube, it brought me healing. Finish reading.
The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much.
All right, read the next one. 2 Corinthians 10:5. I'm going to go through this stuff. I know we go. Okay, 2 Corinthians 10:5. Sorry.
Casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of Yah, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
So guys, this is what it takes. I mean, you got to really cast these thoughts, these imaginations, in high place. Pastor always taught the high place in your mind. You got to take these thoughts and cast it down. But if we can get to that subconscious level, we can get to what has happened to us and start resolving the conflict that's in our life, and we can get our house in order. Now we're prepared to truly be a man. We can now be a brother. We can now be a husband. We can now be a father, because guess what? When you have a Ishaya, when you have a sons and daughters, guess what? They're going to have problems. When you're the head of a community, there's going to be problems. There's going to be problems that needs to be solved. You need to be able to solve problems. But we got so many men who are boys that don't know how to solve problems. They can't solve the problems with their own self. They can't solve the problem when it comes to their woman. They can't solve the problem when it comes to their... They got all these projects that they started and can't even finish it. They can't. They have people that they're supposed to obey, and when they tell them to do nothing, they can't even follow their instructions. They can't even follow through on the command that was given to them. So if you can't even follow through on the commands been given unto you, how are you going to be able to expect those who are under you to be able to follow your commands? Are you going to hold them accountable? What do I always say? When you, as my second in command here, what do I always tell you when you giving these guys instructions to do what?
Inspect what you expect.
Inspect what you expect. You can't tell a guy to go do every single time when I tell a brother to do something or a sister to do something. Guess what? I got to do an extra, and this is a big house. I will go and check their work. And if I have to go wake them up in the middle of the night, damn it, I will wake them up in the middle of the night. Have I not done that? Something like that?
Yes, brother.
You got to inspect. I got to go check their work. Just different things. That is being a leader. You got to have a vision. If you don't have a vision, the people perish. You got to give them something. I've told the people in their community, guys, this is not going to be one of these communities where we're just going to, and I'm not saying none of the community, I'm saying, but we're not going to be a community that's just going to be all about just getting excited about the rah-rah. I'm not a rah-rah guy. Never been a rah-rah guy. Even when I played ball, I was about business. I'm going to get to that court. Watch my play. Very rarely did you ever see me, ask Brother Danny, very rarely did you ever see me get excited about getting a sack. I got my sack. I was happy. I got back in line. Say I'm going to do it again. This is not the first time I've been here. I've been here before. I'm going to do it again. I wasn't happy until the game was over. And then I looked to see what did I collect? Oh, 3 sacks, 2 sacks, 1 here. But so many people are just rah-rah. And I'm not saying rah-rah is a bad thing. It's all about the emotions, and you need emotions. You need the right types of emotion.
Right.
Like start leading with the Holy Spirit. That's type of praise. So guys, as a man, if you truly want to be a man, you guys got to start. I would say that some of these people are interested in having Ishaya. They want to have a woman. They want to build a family. Well, like when Pastor gave me this, he said, I want you to be the head of this community or lead this community. I said, okay. I started to say, okay, what do I want to see for this community? Did I not tell you guys what I wanted to see from day one? I told you we wanted to be one of the best communities out there that people will talk about. And not to just say, oh, look at me, but to inspire. What didn't I tell you? To inspire others to want to shoot for greatness. That's it. We're not going to always be on top. And not that I'm saying we are on top. They're going to be, and then just that nice, healthy competition. I'll be doing that with my brother Daniel. Now Brother Daniel got a land. I'm now trying to get a land because of my brother now. I'll be messing with Brother Daniel saying, oh, like, hey, we got a community. Hey, I got a meeting to go to. And then he would just kind of laugh, right? But now I'm happy for my brother.
He's doing it.
Yeah, now he's doing it now. He got land. He's doing clearing out trees. And I'm happy for my brother. But guess what? Just like any competitor, guess what? I'm now going to try to see if I can up him. But it's not in a way.
Provoke each other.
Yeah, he provoked me. I'm provoking him. I'm going to show him, hey, now we're going to come up with our land. And we're going to do it better. And he's going to come in and say, okay. And he's going to go back and do it. But we're happy for each other. I'm not making this deal. That's how we do in football. I say, okay, we help each other out. That's how come we were able to do the things on the football field that we were able to do, because we compete. You can't just go out there and just think you're just going to just all of a sudden perform. This is something that has to be in you. This is something you have to do repetition, but repetition or practice makes perfect. And it's good when you have other people. Even when I used to play football, I hated lifting weights by myself. I always had somebody that, because not every day I'm going to be excited. But if I had somebody there, then they inspire me. Even with my brother David, he's not the greatest weightlifter. But guess what? When he's there, I got to look like I know. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be better than him. I can't have him show me out. So even somebody that can't even lift weights, that helps. That's inspiring enough. So, man, I tell you. So I say, as a man, we should be looking at, it's like, man, I'm going to have a family. Because this is the stuff that is now, as a community head, there's people that are interested in our single sisters. I was interested in, obviously, in the sister. And still have interest because I'm trying to build my family. But I got to go through interviews. I got to talk to the men, to the father, or to the head of the community, or whoever. And they're going to be looking at me like this is a job interview. They're going to ask me, man, why should I allow you to talk to my daughter or to this sister? I mean, what do you have to offer? Who are you? Do you have a good name? Do you have a good report? And so I try to look at being a man. I take it to a whole nother level. I'm saying, man, I'm going to look at this as being a bishop. I want you to go to 1 Timothy chapter 3. Because if the house ain't right, why would anybody, if I'm not stable, if I'm double-minded, if I'm not a righteous man, how would I be a blessing to a sister or to a woman that's going to be my wife? Read 1 Timothy 3. This is just a requirement to be a bishop or a leader or a ruler in Israel. Read.
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach.
See, these are good qualities. Look at this, blameless. What's your reputation in Israel as straightway? Do you have a good reputation? Do you have a bad reputation? Are you considered lazy? Are you considered a hard worker? Are you considered righteous or unrighteous? I mean, these are the stuff that you need to understand, that if you're thinking about being with a sister, are you going to be one of those people that is going to go behind the back and talk to a sister, or are you going to go straight to the man? Are you going to go, I had to go straight to Pastor Dow. I went straight to Pastor Dow. I went to the man sitting next to the man. Okay, but I went to the man and made my request known. Didn't have to sneak or whatever. That's what a man would do. And allow him to see, hey, test me. Wait, am I not ready? What am I? And then I had to go to Pastor Corey. And he's telling me, man, hey, boom, they're throwing different options. And like, hey, well, what about this? Have you considered this? Have you considered this? And I'm telling him, I have a vision. I even had talked to a father. I told him, I have a vision for what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build a nation, a tribe. I'm trying to have 94 children. They look at me like, yeah, and I can afford to do it. Because I'm a good spender. I mean, I'm very conservative. But so these are the stuff that you look for. Keep reading.
Not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre.
Elder Rufus is saying, shaking my head. You read, sorry.
But patient, not a brawler, not covetous, one that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of Yah?
Stop right there. So you look at 5. Look at it, says, for a man do not know how to rule his own house, how shall he be able to take care of the church of God? Aren't the church or the assembly also considered the bride? So if you can't take care of your own house, and I'm talking about you as the man, if you can't take care of your own emotion, all the different things and all these, if you can't take care of that, how are you going to be able to help a woman? Because a woman is full of emotions. She's going to need a man that's going to have strength. Like Pastor says, they don't follow titles, they follow strength. So if you don't got your own house in order, why would you? What can you do for a woman? Because now she got emotions, now you got your emotions, and you both got unresolved. Who the hell? And then that's when you start having marital issues and things of that nature. Who the heck is leading here? But so many people want to marry their mother instead of being the man and say, I'm going to marry a woman that I am going to rule over, and I'm going to shape her and mold her according to my likeness, to my desire, so that I can present her before Yah as a beautiful, radiant church. That's how we should be thinking. Now, I mean, yes, of course you want sex and beauty, all that, but have a purpose for these women that you're bringing. Have a purpose. It's not just aimlessly just going through this stuff. We're just going to figure it out. No, I have a plan, and I'm going to see it through, and I need your help. I need your help to help me to fulfill this plan, this desire that I have, so I can please my husband. Keep reading.
Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride he fall into the condemnation of the devil. Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the devil.
See, you can't be a novice. So some of these young brothers, I want to, but they don't have no vision. They can barely freaking pay the bills themselves. Can't even take care of their own house. Their house is a mess. They're a mess. Everything is a mess. You understand that the way you treat yourself is going to be an indicator of how you're going to treat that woman? So that's why here at Straightway Praise Line, that's why we're focusing on the brothers. Doesn't mean that we're not dealing with the sisters. I'm working through the sisters through the brothers. And the single sisters, I have to deal with that until they get covered. This is how we roll. This is how Israel used to do. Matter of fact, it was the men that showed up to these assemblies. And they took it. They were the priests of their home. That's the way it should be. Pastor Dow should have a whole bunch of people who are freaking leading their home. So now we can focus on things bigger and better instead of getting caught up in all this stuff. We shouldn't even have to do all these crazy counseling. But because of the world that we came in, because we were born in iniquity, we got to deal with this shit. But man, we got to get to work. I promise you, if you do your work, if you do the hard work, roll up your sleeve and do the hard work, enter your pain, and truly do deliverance, now we can get this thing behind us and really be about this thing. Man, time is short. The king is coming. We don't need time to be dealing with this stuff, man. Can you imagine if you got a football player, you go, oh, coach, my elbow hurts. I'm like, bro, what the hell? Man, cut this dude. We need to move forward. We don't have time. This is what we've been training for. We've been training for this very moment. We're at the Super Bowl. It's time to play. It's time to shut up and put up. That's what being a man is. You're going to have things coming your way. It doesn't mean that people don't reject me. I experience rejection every day. It doesn't mean I don't have all the stuff that I used to do, but now it doesn't bother me. It doesn't control me. I'm in control because I have all authority in Jesus Christ. And now I can walk in power and in strength. I got that word. I got the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit in me. And now I can focus on things that, it's off the chain. Keep reading, is that it? That's it. So let me show you something, and I'm going to close on this. Go to Ephesians chapter 5:25. I want to show you, because usually I use this when I'm talking about the sisters, but I'm really talking to brothers. Especially these brothers that you may have an Ishaya, you may be single, but a lot of you brothers have women, and you guys don't even have, you guys are not together. And so because you're not together, your house is not together. That's why no one can even trust you to do anything, because you just not got it together. So read. Start at verse 25.
Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the assembly.
See, look, he says, husband, love your wife. And he's going to break it down concretely. What does it look like to love your wives? It says even. See, we love to say, wives, be subject to your own husband. As what? As unto the Lord. But we have a job too. Wives, and our instruction is larger. The women was really just like 3 verses. But this one really goes into detail. And he gives us concrete on what it looks like to love your wives, to love your woman. Read, husband, love your wife even as Christ. So we got to use Christ. So we got a plethora of examples on how to love our wives. Christ was the perfect example. Yahweh was a perfect example. And you see that all throughout the Old Testament with Israel. He had a bride. He was the husband. You have all of these examples of how he dealt with his bride. We literally have a playbook on how to be a man. Hallelujah. Does he not say be perfect because I'm perfect? Right. Be holy because I'm holy? We are commanded to be like Yah. We are creating an image and glory. Not just in glory, image and glory. We're supposed to rule. The woman was created the glory of man. The woman was created for the man, not the man for the woman. We're supposed to rule, but we live in this culture that has completely destroyed the image of God by destroying the men, incarcerating them, especially men that look like me, and feminizing our man. This is what it truly means to be a man. Read, husband, love your wife even as Christ loved the church. That's the bride. Read, and
gave himself for it.
And gave himself for it. Are we willing to do? We want our woman to do the work, but we're not willing to do the work. We're not really willing to sacrifice, but we want them to do all the sacrifice. We want them to be mama, take care of everything. I'm gonna sit here play video games while you just take care. I'm gonna sit here smoke weed while you out there, bringing home the money. This is the type of stuff I'm hearing. I'm just blown up. I have never, even in Christianity, never looked to a woman to provide for me. Even with all my arrested development, never ever looked to a woman to provide. Because I see my father. My father was the provider. I always saw that I'm going to provide. What I'm looking for is a helpmeet. All I need you to do is obey. Be teachable, and I'll take it from here. I'll take care of everything you need. You can throw things at me. I will take care of you. Read.
That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water.
That he may sanctify, holy, set apart. So your woman should be unique. When I see Mother Carol, when I see Mother Nellie, Sister Nellie or Summer, I see this. I know that's Pastor Dow's. I see that. When I see Mother Jennifer, that's Elder Rufus. You know that they're set apart. That's what it sanctify, cleanse, and wash your word. When they speak, you can tell they've been watered with the word. We're like gardeners. If you don't water your plant, it's gonna die. If you don't take care of yourself and know what you need to do, have an understanding and knowledge of how to deal with a woman, it's gonna die. Read up on it. Look at other men who are doing it right. We have great leaders in this ministry led by Pastor Dow. Great examples. It's not like Christianity where they just talk about it and write a book about it. I don't even think Pastor Dow has a book about it. But he is a living example. You got examples right before you. Guys, I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of churches. It doesn't, I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. It doesn't get any better than this. And I've seen a lot. Focus on the family. I've been to Rick Warren's church. I've seen it. I've been to big events. I'm talking about the mega. I've seen Francis Chance. I mean, it's pale in comparison to what we have. But we take it for granted because we're here. We see it every day. We say, that's Pastor Dow is getting old, Guys, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, please take my word for it. I've seen what the world will say, great leaders, T.D. Jakes, all these people. They're all liars. They're all liars. They're not even doing what they preach. And I don't even know what they're preaching. We have perfect examples, so you got to be able to cleanse her with the washing of the word. So, you got to know the word. How can you water with something that you don't even have in you? What does Pastor say? He says he hoped that these words sink deep down in you, that it will work a performance. Yeah. But if you don't have this in you, what are you going to be watering her with? Junk food? What are you going to do? Exactly. Keep reading.
That he might present it to himself a glorious assembly.
Listen to what he says. Present it to himself. So that means, okay, when Pastor Dow comes in here, I don't say, hey, Pastor, how do you want the community to be? I mean, I'm treating this as the husband of this community. I have a standard that I want. This is my style. I can go to other community. I see how they do things. I take the good that I want and everything. But at the end of the day, when I come here, I'm going to do it the way I like to do it. But so when Pastor Dow, kind of like my husband, he comes and says, hey guys, Pastor Dow's coming. Hey, do what we do. He is literally seeing what I put attention to. He sees how I think. He sees how I work. By the way my brothers work. How we make sure the room is set. How make sure everything is in order. I'm just presenting to myself. That's all I have. I'm the head. So I got to do it the way I see fit. Now, Pastor Dow can come in and say, hey, you can do this better. I see you lack here and do this. I say, okay. And then I'm going to make those corrections. I remember when Pastor came in, he says, you guys need to have a garden here by next year. Okay, I'm responsible. Imagine I didn't have that garden. What did that say? I'm not going to listen to Pastor. So when he come back, he said, oh, this guy don't even take me serious. So because he said it, we got to get it done. So if I can obey, then if I'm expecting you guys to obey me, I better obey those who are over me too. I'm a man under authority. I'm a man of authority. But when he comes in, he can say, okay, I see what Kabir's working with. I see his style. I see how he does. I see how well they work. That's good. I mean, they come in here. I mean, you got Sister Ashley. You have people come and say, man, you guys work well together. Our sister, from all the way from the head all the way to the last person on the roster. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And it is right to judge a man based off of his children's behavior. It is right to judge a man based off of his wife. See, I was not as good as I thought I was because I had a wicked woman. I didn't know what to look for. I didn't have good teachers. I didn't have good examples. All the examples I had they were all submitted to their wife, happy life attitude. Now guess what? You see, look what's changed. Now I have me a woman, and it's clearly life revolves around me, not around her. But does that mean that I don't take care of her? She's well taken care of. Everything that she needs, anything that she was worried about, and we will talk about that in another show. But that is what a man to do. You got to make sure that, I mean, I remember one time, Bree saying like, man, you want 94 children? 94? Yup, I want 94. How are you going to be able to juggle that, being a community head? How are you going to be able to juggle that? I said, I live in a 30,000 square feet home. I drive a nice car. She looked at it and said, does the car look like it's well taken care of? Yep. Does this house look like it? Yep. Does the dog? Yep. She's looking at it and saying, so how much more valuable are you? These are my property. They don't even have mouth. They can't say, hey, hello, we need cleaning here. Hey, the pool needs help. They can't say that. I have to keep all these things running, keep it smooth. So if I could take care of that, how much more valuable are you? Where do you think I got that from? Who did I steal that from?
Yeshua.
I stole that from Yeshua. He said, look at the lilies of the field. He took the least. He said, they're not arrayed more than Solomon. He said, look at the birds of the air. They do not worry about what they're going to eat, what they're going to wear. How much more value? You have little faith. And I can speak that with confidence. Are you guys following me?
Yes, brother.
This is what it means to be a man. Solving problems. You're going to have problems. Things are going to be thrown at you.
Resolving conflict.
But if you have not resolved the conflict within yourself and all those spirits, all those demonic spirits in you, you're not going to be able to solve problems. I even love how Gideon, my brother Gideon, when he was here, and I remember the first time when I don't know, it was my first time seeing him, but him expressing, I mean, we got into something, and you saw him getting his deliverance. And guess how he was getting his deliverance? He was confessing his faults. The things he saw in war, in battle. And some people, because of their own insecurity, was trying to stop him. I said, man, let this man let him talk. And now look what Brother Gideon is doing. Now he's speaking. And he's able to share because he was able to let it go. But the world said, keep that in. Because the world's going to look at you crazy. Man, when I saw Brother Gideon, and now he's thriving because he is now resolving conflict. And obviously, he has the same pastor, same shepherd that I have. But I saw it. I saw him get his deliverance, and it was confessing his fault. No one laid hands or did. It was just him confessing, and we praying for our brother. And now he's that much lighter now. He's not carrying that burden of things that he saw. He's able to speak it. And then he realized, hey, we love you, Gideon. We still love you. We even love you more. What do you think that does to him? Like, because the world said, don't tell him. And then even when he did first time tell somebody and they rejected him, it was like, man, I can't tell anybody this stuff because if I tell anybody, I'm going to be rejected. But then he did it in the right context, in the right place, with the right brothers. And he was able to experience the love and to experience his healing.
Hallelujah.
If he can do it, I can do it. Pastor Dow can do it. We all can do this. It's right there. It's at hand. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, people. Keep reading. Sorry. Where are we?
That he might present it to himself a glorious assembly, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies.
How can you love your own body if you're not taking care of those unresolved issues? Daddy issues, mommy issues, whatever issues you're going through, things that you're holding in, bottling up. If you're not taking care of your own body, how are you going to love your woman like your own body? Yeah, you are going to love her like your own body. If you hate yourself, you're going to hate her too. And you're going to hate your sons and daughters as well. And you're going to hate those around you. You're not going to be able to even accept love. You're not going to be able to give love. You can't even receive the love from the Father because you can't even love yourself. Because you have bought the lie. You're double-minded. You haven't chosen what side you want. And you in a ministry that literally is about deliverance. This is where you're going to get free. Doing the work. Keep reading. Read.
He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh.
In this generation, it looked like a lot of men are hating their own flesh. See, it's assumed that no man ever hated his flesh. But we have been taught, especially in this Roman Greco Christianity, we have been taught to hate Yah and hate ourselves, to hate our brothers. Everything about Christianity, everything I've ever learned, my first 40 years of my life was to hate. Didn't even know it. I'm calling love hate. I mean, I'm thinking I'm loving, but the whole time I'm hating. We've been taught to hate Yah. The commandments are done away with. Grace, 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 grace. Say peace, 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 where there is no peace. We literally been taught to hate Yah and to hate our brothers and to hate ourselves. Instead of getting to the root of the problem, we just pop in pills to just suppress the very thing that we need to speak and to get it out of us. But instead, we're taught to keep it in. Don't tell everybody, Kabir, keep this stuff down. Don't tell everybody what's going on in your problem. Keep it in. You're better off hanging yourself than telling the world what's going on in your home. We'd rather do that and then we could do a nice memorial and say what a great football player you were. But then I'm going straight to hell. Instead of entering my pain, entering the fire, standing. And now look at, I come out of it and I'm better. I am better than I was when I was in there.
Come on, bro.
But so many people was trying to hold me back. And look at, because I was able to speak and because I was able to look at, now we got more people who saying me too. Now we starting a me too version of this stuff. I'm going through that. Now other men are starting to say, man, if you can do it, I can do it. Hallelujah. So thank Yah I didn't keep my mouth shut. But that's what Satan didn't want. He didn't want this to just go viral. Where other people are hearing the truth. Understanding what we're in right now. How do you have a man like me who was a good husband, provided for his wife, food, shelter, condo? I had 8 babies with this woman. Left. And people think, but what we're told is usually the deadbeat father, the father that don't care. And I'm starting to learn there's more good men out there like me women are leaving just because they're rebellious. And we stay under that oppression for so long because we fear rejection. I fear being rejected because that's where I was put. I didn't know that, but that was my God. And when I had that dream, and I'm coming 3 years on that anniversary, when I had that dream, that vision, Yah said, you don't love me. I'm glad that he loved me enough to tell me that. And once I chose him, then hell broke loose. I'm starting, all the stuff started happening, but I'm glad that I did what Pastor Dow told me to do. He said, stand. He said, son, stand. I was thinking, is there any more to do? He said, keep it, just stand. If you do that, that's all you've done enough. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you for loving me when no one else was loving me. I really appreciate that. Keep reading.
For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as Yahweh the assembly. See, look at nourish, cherish. That means to feed and to keep warm. Read. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but speak I concerning Christ and the church. This is a mystery. This is the great mystery, guys. Everything, you look at that relation. This is the mystery to understand this stuff. Be able to handle these mysteries. Go. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself. You can't love your wife if you don't love yourself. And if you don't get your own deliverance, you're not going to be good to no one. But when you get your deliverance, when you take care of you, take the log out of your own eye, then you're going to look at your woman and see there's just a speck in her own eyes. But if you are dealing with the fear of rejection, and then all of a sudden your woman acts up, because she will. The Bible says that. It says that, what it says, if you choose to marry, there will be what? Affliction of the flesh or something like that? So your woman's going to be a woman. A baby. You got people even tripping because their son, their little baby, won't do what he cries too much. He must not like me. I must be a bad dad. Instead of looking like, this is a teachable moment. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to train, to teach, to mold. But if you're wounded and you have your own issues, you're taking it personal. As if the baby is saying, I don't like you, Daddy. Even if he said that. Okay, I don't care if you like me, but you're going to do what I tell you to do. Right. You see the difference? But when you're dealing with shame, you can't think clear. You can't even, your wife is going to do the same thing. She's going to act, that's why you're there. You're supposed to help her, correct her, put her back in her place. That's love. Not controlling her. Yeah, we're supposed to control her and rule over, but not control her just because we're not in control of ourselves. So we try to control everybody around us, and then we become abusive. And then we start lording over those who we rule over. Because we can't control the emotions. We can't control ourselves, so we start controlling everybody around us. So then it goes from ruling to lording. But if you're looking at this as, okay, this is a situation, this I'm going to handle it, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to help this person to shape them, to mold them. I'm going to make them do what they don't want to do so they can go to places they always wanted to go. Don't I not tell you guys that? Mm-hmm. Yes. That's what I tell my bride. I tell her I'm going to make you do things. Not because I hate you. If anything, I love you and believe you can do it, but I'm going to push you through it because it's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you better. So I create adversity. Guess where I learned that from? Where do you think I learned that from? Yeah. He says, you don't love me. Okay, yeah, I love you. Can we just go with that? Can you just take my word for it? No, what did he do? He took my wife away. He took my baby away. He tested me to see if I love him. Come on. And I'm glad. As much as I didn't want, he made me do things I didn't want to do so I can be in places I always wanted to be. I always wanted to be a part of the kingdom. I always wanted to follow his righteous laws. And now I get to do it. Because when Christianity, they sure wasn't helping me to do it. They were just medicating me, telling me what I want to hear. Finish reading. And the wife, see that she reverenced her husband.
All right. So, people, this is all. I just wanted to share this stuff that we need to get this thing there. As my community is growing, I'm dealing with a lot of, I got to counsel people. I got to help people deliverance. People get sick. You got to lay hands. I'm even, pastors teaching me a lot of things. But guys, what I see here is that we men need to get stronger. We need to strengthen. What did he tell Peter? He told Peter, when you get your strength, go back and strengthen your brothers. Guys, we got to take care of our own self. If we want to truly make a difference for the kingdom of Yah, we got to take care of our own self. Deliverance is key. Jesus came to set the captives free. And a lot of us are captive because of our childhood wounds, because of things that was done to us. And we don't, half of the time, we didn't even know what was being done to us. But I'm telling you this much, there's nothing new under the sun. Even here in Gideon, I've never experienced the stuff here, but guess what? It's the same shit, same hurt, same pain. But guess what? Even as bad as it was, he confessed it among good brothers, and guess what? Now he's healed, and he's walking more free than he ever did before. So guys, I'm telling you, and he was crying. I mean, if anybody knows Gideon, he's a soldier. He would kill you. but he let it out. Especially he's a man's man. And so he showed me what it looks like to be a real man. Does that mean he goes around crying all the time? No. But he needed that. He needed that. And I see that happen to brothers all the time. And I'm only making that plug because I've seen Gideon speak now. Doing interviews now. Stuff that he probably would have never done before. You can't keep that testimony to yourself. You can't get that type of freedom and keep that. You know how many other people need to hear that freedom? Just like I couldn't keep what I went through. I couldn't keep that to myself. That's crazy. You got this great story going on. That would be like Job. Can you imagine if we never heard of Job? But it was Job that kind of helped me to hang in there. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if we have a story like that, testimony, hey, now I'm victorious. You watch. That's why you guys don't have to see me as much, because I'm busy, man. We're growing. We're getting things done. I'm gonna eventually stop and film and show you what we're doing here, but we're doing things. So I really appreciate you guys that are supporting me on my YouTube, Patreon. So continue being patient, but there's a lot of things happening that I'll be most definitely sharing. But I'm pretty much done today.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Come on.
I know I went a little bit longer. I know. Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
That was very timely, and I think we all needed to hear a lot of that what you talked about. So, but Saints, I'll make some quick announcements here. Not too much going on, at least this week, in terms of what this past week, but I'll share and also remind you about the website. If you want more information about Straightway Truth Ministries, you can go to straightwaytruth.com or straightway.com. They both work. This is the main page on the site. The first thing that you see, obviously the picture, and also the schedule throughout the week of what's going on at Straightway Truth Ministries. There is a Shabbat service, 7th day Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Every single Shabbat, it streams live on the website. And if you cannot, for some reason, use a flash player, you can always go to YouTube and watch it live there at Straightway Live. That's youtube.com/Straightway Live. And we'll see you guys there. Hallelujah. Brother Kabir, closing words.
Well, guys, I just want to let you know, guys, there's a lot of power in confessing your faults to one another. But before you even get to that point, you really got to do the work. It may require you to write a letter to those who hurt you. Anybody that have hurt you anyway. It could be a father, it could be a mother, it could be a sibling, it could be a friend, it could be any of these things. But to really go in there and find out where these things are, you're gonna find out. You're gonna see, like, man, there's a theme. I've always had this theme where things, and when you start writing those things, it's gonna be like onions. It's gonna be like you just take it and it's like tears. You just keep going in and you get to the core, and that's a start. I mean, obviously, I'm not here with you guys to help you with it, but that's a way to really get to the root of these things. And then you find out it wasn't you; it was something that was done to you. And now you can now Satan can't hide with all these lies that you have in your subconscious, thinking it's your fault. Now you recognize, okay, it's not my fault. It was something that was done to me, and I can break it. There's hope now. I'm not bad. I'm doing bad things. I can change. There's hope. I can be what Christ says I can be. So if he says we can be holy, we can be holy. If he says we've been set free, we can be set free. So guys, man, do the work. Do the work. Is good. Get in that chair. We need to get in that chair. But guess what? Do the work. So then when you get in the chair, now when you get in the chair, it should just be like, okay, now we're just going to just clean anything. Like what do you do for, like, when you're doing cutting grass? Isn't it said, like, after you do the work, don't you go in and blow everything?
Yeah, you do the fine tuning.
So you just when you actually sit in the chair, you do that. It should just be fine tuning, just trying to clean things up, because of the work you did. You got clippings all over the place. You got this stuff, and he's like, man, are we gonna sweep this? No, we're gonna do it. And then now you just kind of just fine tune it. And so when you sit in that chair, it shouldn't be that much. Now there's some people who really, really, really need it. Really, what, you want to say something?
I want to say, me and Brother Freddie, we were taking out some bushes the other day.
Yeah,
And
speak
the
up.
hardest part was just getting to the roots. Shake the tree and rustle the tree and pull it down and dig them up. But once we got to the root, just quick snip and pull it out. But getting actually to the root and exposing it, that was the hardest part.
That was
That's
the
most work.
See, look at see when you actually, and guys, that's why I love these concrete. If you actually do garden work or do stuff like this, you really understand what the word is saying. It's easy to click the top, but when you get to the root, that's the hardest part.
It took two of us.
And it took two of them to do it. So anyway, guys, I hope this show was a blessing to you guys. And like Pastor always said, I hope the things I said today will sink deep down in your heart, that it will actually perform a performance in you guys, that you guys will start. Men, we need you guys, man. The harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. The laborers are few. We need more men in this fight, guys. The king is coming. We need to get ready, guys. We need to put away childish things, and we need to start being men and act like men. We need to start understand what it truly means to be a man. But we got to take care of our own house. Clean house, so that we can now build a nation. If you call to be single, be single. But if you want to have families, then we can have healthier families. And then you can pour into the next generation. Then that generation pour into the next generation, because now they will have examples. Instead of us being in a situation where we only have few examples like Pastor Dow. Let there be a whole bunch of people like that. Where now we have a lot of people to look for. Man, we got Pastor Dow, this person, man. We got, man, everybody's an example. And now the next generation can be better off. So anyway, guys, remember, like I always said, do you want to say anything or that's it? Nope. So guys, like always, thank you for showing up each week, each week, every week and everything, and watching my show. I appreciate the support. Please continue praying for us. Pray for me. I need it. There's a lot of changes I'm going through, but it's good change. It's good change. Success, there's a lot of responsibility. But until next time, remember, be faithful in the little things. Shalom, shalom.
It's KGB, live show. We gon' set it right, live show. We only tell the truth, live show. We gon' set it right, live show. The truth straight way,
Straight from the scripture.
straight way.
To you straight, no chaser.
The truth straight way,
Straight from the scripture.
straight way.
To you straight, no chaser.
The true straight way. For this truth, they really hate me. I hit them like a safety. On my way to the mountaintop, ain't no way they gon' stop me. When you live this life, you only get one shot. Time is running out, but you keep looking at the clock. But for me and my household, we're gonna be doers of the word. It's KGB, live show. We gon' set it right, live show. We only tell the truth, live show. We gon' set it right, live show. The true straight way,
Straight from the scripture.
straight way.
To you straight, no chaser.
The true straight way,
Straight from the scripture.
straight way.
To you straight, no chaser.
The true straight way.